these are going, what, 80,000, 60,000? They got head problems. They should all be a recall.
Ford and GM have fallen so far from grace.
And when the oil's coming out of here, that means it is most likely coming from the rear main seal on this motor.
New cars aren't just expensive, they're becoming harder to fix and failing way too early, and mechanics are seeing it firsthand. Before we begin, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. A six-figure Mercedes blew its engine at just 500 miles, while a 2021 Hyundai needed an entire engine at 60,000.
These brand new Benzes honestly are so trash. This is a brand new S580E, so it's like the S580 with a hybrid. And as you guys can see, there's like oil everywhere. So this car has 500 miles on it. I was just speaking to the technician, they just drained out all the oil and it blew the motor. Like this thing legit needs a whole brand new motor. As you guys can see, there's like a bunch of oil everywhere. And then over here, this is the housing to it. As you can see, just like literally destroyed. The car obviously is up on the lift. They've just been working on it, emptying all the fluids, and then they're gonna order like a whole new motor for it. But I was just talking to the technician as well. He's like, these brand new Mercedes cars like should not be having these issues. Like these cars are trash. I mean, honestly, I don't blame him. I mean, you spend over $100,000 on an S-Class, and 500 miles into driving the car, it just takes a shit on you. This thing is crazy. Like, look at that. Giving you guys a little close-up. There's legit oil all underneath this car. So yeah, honestly, if you're in the market for like a new Benz, stay away from them. Too much technology, all this hybrid stuff is because, man, like 500 miles. Like, he didn't even have his first service. He didn't even break the car in 500 miles and this thing's already cooked.
So when a truck under 4 years old already needs an engine, are new cars actually better or just more complicated?
Ford and GM have fallen so far from grace. I mean, what used to be one of the most reliable, respectable, serviceable vehicles on the road is nothing more than a fantastic plastic hunk of junk, if I put it politely. Just a bunch of computers and a bunch of that nobody asked for. And this one, as you can see, it's a new body style. Guess what I had to do to it? An engine. Already. Truck ain't even 4 years old. Already needs a motor. But that's not the only thing, right? It wouldn't be so bad if they were as serviceable as they used to be. You know, the old Silverados, you could yank the motor out of that thing in an afternoon and give it back to the customer before lunch. Not this pile, man. They have engineered these things. I'll show you. It's just that's nonsense, man. There's just so much in the way these days. And I kind of wanted to, I was putting this back together because this truck refuses to leave, man. I'm going to make another video about that. But as I'm going through this and working on these new vehicles, it just baffles me how much these automakers are cutting corners and cutting costs just to protect their bottom line at the expense of the consumer and the technician.
Are newer Hyundais more reliable than the older ones?
Are newer Hyundais more reliable than older ones? No, not at all. I think older Hyundais are significantly more reliable and much better than the new ones. I think the newer generation of Hyundais are not that great, unfortunately. It is something, though, that when I by older, I mean like 2009 and older. 2010 and newer is where we see a lot of mess ups. I mean, heck, we have a 2021 Hyundai in the shop right now that needs an engine, which you would think would be under the manufacturer's warranty, but for some reason it's not, and we're having to replace the engine. The car's only got like 60,000 miles on it. Why is it not under warranty? Don't ask me, I don't know. But it's one of those things that we fought with Hyundai to try to get it under warranty. We sent it over to the dealership. They still said no. They have engine issues. They have tranny issues. No, I can't say. I think the older generation Hyundais are significantly better.
A 2025 Nissan was already leaking oil at 6,000 miles.
Hey man, it's Mead back here at Bender's Automotive, and I just want to share something with you that I talk about all the time. People are always like, what's the best new car? Honestly, in my opinion, none of them. I would much rather have an older car. They were built better. New cars, we see nothing but problems. Case in point, above me right now, this is a brand new Nissan pickup. This is a 2025 with 6,000 miles on it. I mean, as evidenced by, like, look at it. Like, this is brand new control arm. This is a brand new CV axles. These parts have no wear on them at all, okay? Truck is brand new. Now I want you to come over here and look. This right here is an oil leak. This is the transmission, this is the engine, this is where they meet together. And when the oil's coming out of here, that means it is most likely coming from the rear main seal on this motor. That should not be leaking. Certainly not at 6,000 miles. Yes, we do rear main seals on cars all the time, but these are cars that have 150, 200,000 miles, maybe more. 6,000 miles, I've never ever seen it in my experience. So why don't I like new cars? That's why.
See this little Ford logo right here stamped on this thing? 2021 Ford Bronco just finished the water pump at 60,000 miles. Check this out. Would you buy something like that? I think I would rather get in a car crash using my toolbox than I would with this Ford Bronco. This thing's a POS if you ask me. Yeah, I think if you get in a car crash with this, you'll probably die.
Even one plastic door component turned into a $525 door panel, while GM replaced a simple belt tensioner with a more complicated system.
They are literally building these cars so that you throw them away when they break. Literally, just throw them away when they break. Don't replace it, don't fix it, just throw it away. So I'm installing a camera system, and I messed up. Somehow I got myself locked. I'm pretty sure I didn't loop the piece all the way through on the handle. So basically the door was shut. I pulled on it really hard. Door opens. But as you can tell, I broke this. Just a little plastic piece, I broke it. I mean, no biggie, no biggie. I'll look online. Can't find it. I understand it's a newer car. This is 23. I'm like, shoot. Let's call the dealer. So the guy on the phone was like, he spent like 10 minutes. He calls me. He actually had to call me back. Calls me back and says, actually, we can't just get the door handle. I'm like, what do you mean you can't just get the door handle? You have to order the entire door panel. He even said it comes with a new window switch. And then I realized, because I took the dang thing back off, he's not kidding. It is like, they've molded the plastic around it. You cannot get this off. You cannot get that out. What the heck? One, I get, like, this should never break, right? But how many times have you replaced a window switch in a car? It gets wet with water. What are you going to tell me? I need a whole new door panel? It's only a cool $525.
And here's a perfect example of GM and Ford's corporate greed. They have eliminated belt tensioners. My other technicians will know exactly what I have here in my hand. And for those of you who don't, this is a stretch belt. And the stretch belt is exactly what it sounds like. You got to stretch the to install it. And GM decided to put not one, but two. So when you consumers are going in to have your belt replaced and you wonder why labor's so high and why it's taking so goddamn long when it used to take 30 seconds to swap a belt on a 5.3 Silverado, that's why, because GM decided to save 11 cents per unit by not installing a belt tensioner. So now you need special tools, and you got to hold your tongue just the right way and close your eyes and pray you don't break it when it's going on.
And modern trucks are packed with more moving parts, from cylinder deactivation to 8 and 10 speed transmissions, creating even more ways to fail.
Patrick, why don't new trucks last?
So, a lot of different reasons. A big one that I will preach about for a long time, I guess, cylinder deactivation. Seems to cause a lot of issues. You're adding moving parts. GM's been using it for a long time. They call it AFM for active fuel management. Dodge is calling it MDS for multi-displacement. And I think Ford's like VDE for variable displacement engine. They all essentially do the same thing, albeit sometimes in different ways. I guess the most common ones would be GM that we've seen a lot of failures with. They use hydraulically controlled lifters and a solenoid to basically to close the valves on 4 cylinders, and then they cut fuel to those. Well, that sounds like a great idea, and I mean, yeah, you do get a little bit of economy for it, or from it, but those extra moving parts, those lifters fail, and it is not a cheap repair, especially when you start wiping cam lobes and things like that. So that's one big one. Another one is, and this is another thing I think is really emissions driven, but transmissions have been getting more and more complex. So you get into these 8 and 10 speed transmissions, we're seeing failures all over the place. I'm talking like 50, 60,000 miles on a truck that is used as a grocery getter. That is unacceptable in my opinion. But again, you have all these extra gears, you have all these extra moving parts. There's a lot more going on in there. They're trying to squeeze everything they can out of it. You can only fit so much in a box that's this big. And you can't make the box bigger without making the truck bigger. So that's kind of where I stand with it. But yeah, we see a lot of premature failures on variable displacement. There's cylinder deactivation with engines and transmission failures, just catastrophic internal failures. Yeah, but that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Even Honda isn't escaping the criticism, with mechanics reporting problems on newer models that older Hondas seem to avoid.
These are going, what, 80,000, 60,000? They got head problems. They should all be a recall.
How you doing?
The old one.
It's pretty small.
Yeah, I know. A little dinky four-cylinder.
Be pretty sad for a Honda. I mean, they're supposed to go forever.
Yeah, Honda's supposed to be a good car, but the newer ones are junk. You see old Honda Civics and Honda Accords on the road with 300,000-400,000 miles in the same engine. Running beautiful. These are going, what, 80,000, 60,000? They got head problems. They should all be a recall. Every one of them should be recalled.
100%.
Just because it says sport don't mean you can go beating on a circle track up in West Warren. That thing is, on the wire and harness that came from the junkyard, they cut it. They cut this one, they cut that one, they cut the main one going into the fuse box. I'm like, why would you do something stupid like that? The one that came from the junkyard, they broke this. Broke and broke all the way around. You look, it broke all the way around.
All right, I'll get going. Thank you very much.
Tell us what you think and subscribe to Clunker Truth.